And we love getting into the new stats with you. You're the VP of Pitchers List. And Alex, some of our viewers have probably heard of WOBA, but what's WOBA-con?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So in order for us to understand WOBA-con, we need to understand WOBA. Now, people in the sabermetric community, they don't necessarily love average, right? And there's a good reason for it. Let's say we have two hitters, both go 1 for 4, but one has a single and one has a home run. They both have a 250 average, and that really doesn't give us a lot of information. WOBA, or weighted on base average, assigns a value to every way of reaching base. And as a result, it becomes a bit more of a specific metric, right? Similar to OBP, but a bit more accurate. Now, let's say we wanted to remove the walks, we wanted to remove the sac flies. We were only concerned with how a batter was doing when he made contact with the ball. Then we would look at WOBA on contact, or WOBA-con, right? And I know that's great. It mixes two of my favorite things, bacon and baseball. I also love it because it gives us a good idea into offensive output from a player. Really, really specific metric. And if you look at the leaderboard, you'll see a familiar name at the top.
Alex, how does it apply to DJ Stewart?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? In terms of a minimum of 25 balls in play, DJ Stewart leads the league in WOBA-con with a 618 WOBA-con right now, which, as I said, the best in the league. You'd love to hear that. 370 is league average, just to give you a good idea of how hard he's hitting the ball right now, especially in terms of barrel rate. So for people who might not be familiar, a barrel is any ball with an exit velocity greater than 98 miles an hour and a launch angle between 26 and 30. It is the optimal form of contact for a batter. It's what you want to see. DJ Stewart has a 13% barrels per plate appearance and 27% barrels per batted ball. Both lead the league. Let's break that down too. 13% of DJ Stewart's plate appearances end in a barrel, leads the league, and 1 in every 4 balls that DJ Stewart makes contact with, that's also a barrel. Might not be sustainable with a 133 batting average against on fastballs, but you love to see that hot start for DJ Stewart.
Alex, let's talk pitching. And obviously, César Valdez and John Means both rely on their changeups a great deal. How do those two pitches for those two pitchers compare?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's actually pretty cool to see that two pitchers on the same staff can have completely different changeups in terms of movement profile. For César Valdez, he's got 50 inches of drop on that changeup. You can see his little dot there at the very bottom. We're going to highlight it for you real quick just to give you a good idea of how much drop he's getting compared to the league, right? 50 inches of drop is a lot of drop compared to a guy like John Means, who doesn't get as much. As we take a look at César Valdez's changeup, you see it fall off the table. John Means, just 21 inches of drop. If we take a look at the two at the same time, you can see that there is a 2.5 foot difference between those two changeups. And we talked about WOBA-con in terms of batters. For pitchers, it's the same, right? But we want it really low. He has a 204 WOBA-con on that changeup. That is top 15 in baseball right now.
Amazing. Tonight's starter for the Orioles is Keegan Aiken. I guess his fastball is about league average, but it's playing a lot faster than that. Why?
Yeah, once again, a great question, right? So when it comes to Keegan Aiken, because he hasn't had a lot of starts, there's not a lot of metrics that we can look at because there's not enough of a sample size. There are metrics that become reliable really quick, like spin, active spin, and velocity, right? As you mentioned, Keegan Aiken doesn't really have elite velocity, sitting 92, 93 on that fastball, but he's got really good active spin, he's got a really good spin rate, and he's also got a really good Bauer unit, right? So Bauer unit's named after Trevor Bauer and the driveline community. Essentially what Bauer units is it's very simple. It's just spin rate divided by velocity. It creates a better way to compare spin rates at different velocity. Let's say we have a fastball spinning at 2,400, not very impressive at 99 miles an hour. Very impressive when it comes to 89 miles an hour. So as we see Keegan Aiken's spin rate around 2,400 RPM, when we bring into account that 92 mile an hour velocity, he's getting a lot of spin for that velocity, which is really good. 11.7% swinging strike rate. That's better than Garrett Cole and Tyler Glasnow. Now, swinging strike rate, that's definitely one of those metrics that we need a big sample size before we can trust it. There's going to be some regression, but the fact that his Bauer units are so impressive means that it might not regress as much as we think.
Enlightening, as always, from Alex Fast, VP of Pitchers List. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thanks for having me.